So today is a beautiful spring day here in Flat Rock, and um, I'm slowly finishing up everything in the garden, but this is going to be my last no-dig raised bed. My plan here is to plant sunchokes, or Jerusalem artichokes, which actually aren't artichokes. Luckily, I picked up a bucket of these guys from one of our local foragers, and yeah, I only put those in there a couple days ago in loose soil, and they're already rooted. They're pretty prolific, and they do tend to spread, is my understanding. So luckily, this end of the garden up here is fairly empty, and they can pretty much have free range. And from what I heard, they definitely will. So once I get them planted, my plan is to put some rocks and stuff around, kind of help, I guess, prevent the rhizomes from spreading and hopefully keep them a little bit contained. But of course, the good thing about these sunchokes is that they provide another starch option in winter rather than potatoes, and of course having to ship rice and whatnot in from elsewhere. I heard that they're packed with inulin, which means that they can be gassy, but I've heard that they're great for people that are diabetic, and they're good to eat. Apparently they're very flavorful. So the plan is to put these in this no-dig raised bed right here. The soil doesn't have to be that fertile, but it helps to have a little bit of fertility in there. So this is just topsoil that's been mixed here on the property off a section of land that's been cleared, and I've actually mixed it with some chicken manure that's been aged for almost 1 year now. And I've mixed it all together, and you can see that's a chunk of that chicken manure there. Here's more, so it's pretty much all rotted now. So I'm just mixing that guy into here, and I've also added a bit of blood and bone meal. When I get the bed constructed and I start planting them, I'll come back on and we'll see where we got to with it. All right, so this is this no-dig bed, and like I said, it's just native topsoil mixed with some well-aged chicken manure, and this is where these sunchokes are going to go. I am going to build up around the edges of here, probably with some rocks to keep those rhizomes contained. But this is basically the sunchoke, and if you notice, there's lots of roots on it. This was pulled a couple days ago, and there were no roots on here. And I put it in a bucket of soil, and this is all grown in about 3 days. So they grow really, really quickly. Apparently they can grow really, really high, but you can see all that root mass has been put on in a very short period of time. And this down here is the part that you harvest, which is the rhizome. And you can see all kinds of little buds here. It looks very, very similar to the rhizome of ginger. Not related to ginger, from what I know, but it's quite prolific and it grows really, really well here. But keeping it contained is key. So my plan here is to put these in this bed, and they're going to be planted just so that the rhizome is underground. So 5 or 6 inch hole, and they go plopped in like that, and then buried in the soil, and that's pretty much all to it. I'll water those in after, and I'll plant these about 15 inches apart, and they will fill in that bed fairly quickly, is my understanding. But the idea is to keep them contained. You can propagate these further by kind of breaking apart the nubs, but I'm just going to plant these as is, and they should provide a good harvest apparently later in the fall. And I've heard people say that in a 10 by 10 area you could potentially pull out almost 100 pounds of roots. I don't know if that's the case, but I guess we're going to find out. I haven't got 100 square feet here, but there's probably there's probably, let's say, 18 square feet. So, there's probably going to be, I don't know, maybe a pound per square foot. So there'll probably be about 18 pounds of tubers here by the time the season is done. So I'll give an update on this guy later in the season to see kind of how high they are and what we actually get in the fall. Today is June the 16th, and I'm upsizing up this bed of sunchokes that I put in some time ago. You can see they're coming quite nicely. This guy originally only had 2 stalks on it. Now there's 3, and they're sizing up really quick, as expected. I mean, the stalk on that now is almost a 1/2 of an inch thick. These guys are doing well, and they're greening up nicely, so this is, I think, a good location for these. It pretty much gets sun all day. It's only now, like, it's what, almost 2 o'clock, and it's had sun from, I would say, somewhere around maybe 9 o'clock in the morning until now, and it's just now starting to get shaded. Over here on the easterly or the westerly side of that bed, because of this large tree, we'll see, I guess, how these guys work out in the fall. Other than that, that's sunchokes. Super easy to plant. They don't appear to need, really fertile soil. As mentioned, I guess earlier in the video, the soil was just a mixture of local topsoil that was here on this lot, and there was some chicken manure compost mixed in with it. Maybe about 1/3, probably 1/3 compost to 2/3 topsoil, I would say. And they seem to be doing good. So we'll keep track of these through the season and see how high they grow. Apparently they can grow high, and this is a great sheltered location. It's about the only sheltered location in the garden. This garden is pretty windy. So I'm hoping these guys are going to grow pretty high, and I'm not going to require much staking given the fact that it's hardly any wind in this area, even though it's very windy today. And that's it for sunchokes. Super easy. Potentially a good crop for winter, stored in the cellar. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for joining me. I hope you guys get a chance to try some sunchokes in your own yard. A lot of people have them, so you might be able to get your hands on some. If there's somebody, who knows, maybe your next door neighbor.